Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. Guys, smash the like button as always. Hit the subscribe button. Share the videos as you always do. I appreciate the support as always, guys. I appreciate you guys. You know, as my channel is growing, I thank you all for the support. It really means a lot. Also, I wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, the live stream. The live streams, I'm going to try and do them on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm going to try doing at least 3 live streams a week. The timings are going to be Wednesday, you know, normal time. With normal time, we do the live stream Friday, and then Saturday, or maybe Saturday or Sunday. The weekend, it can be whatever. Whenever I get a time on a Saturday and Sunday, we'll do the live streams. And I think that's when the days that I'm going to do the live streams from now on. So just, you know, just remember Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Guys, I want to get into this video and I want to discuss a few things with you guys. I want to discuss the Amir Khan situation. You know, shout out to Fight Gamer. He wanted me to do this video. I was going to do it with my brother, but he didn't get time, so I had to do it myself. The Amir Khan situation. Amir Khan and Kell Brook obviously fighting February 19th, as you guys are all aware. It's obviously a big fight, and a fight that, you know, we've been waiting for almost nearly a decade. Very well anticipated. I want to talk about a few things in this video. Amir Khan has expressed concern about the drug testing. He's got a few concerns that why, you know, so close to the fight that they haven't been tested. He goes, normally that we get tested this time, and he has raised a few concerns about not being tested. Now, I think a lot of people blew it a little bit out of proportion, in the sense that, you know, they were saying that he was accusing Kell. He wasn't accusing Kell Brook of anything. He was just saying that, you know, it's the standard practice to have, you know, drug testing at this point, and we've not had it. So he was, you know, messaging his manager to actually find out what is actually going on, because, you know, they should be tested. And obviously Kell Brook should also be tested. Now, we know that in Ingle's camp, there's been a few fighters that have tested positive. So maybe, listen, Amir Khan is, you know, he just wants to make sure, he just wants to be on an even playing field, you know. He wants to make sure that everything's on a fair and even playing field, which is fair enough, you know. Especially when you know that there's been a few fighters that have tested positive in the other camp. You know, you just want to make sure that you're on an even playing field. So yeah, I don't really like going too much into like drug testing and stuff. As you guys know, I like to keep it to boxing. But yeah, I think Amir Khan just wants to make sure that, you know, that what happens every fight happens this time. Is it a case where, you know, it's not really a big, like, a world level fight where there's governing bodies and sanctioning bodies involved? Really, it's just a grudge match between two guys that are relatively old, and two old guys, you know, and there's no real world title on the line, or it's not significant in terms of world level, world relevance, because neither of these guys are gonna, even if they win, go on to fight for a world title. I doubt it very much. So maybe that's why they've dropped the ball a little bit, or maybe they are going to get tested in the upcoming weeks. Who knows? Anyway, you know, that's not really what I want to talk about anyway. I want to talk about what Bomac said. Bomac says that he feels that Amir Khan will stop Kell Brook, and he can stop him the way Crawford did. I'm really intrigued to see how this fight plays out, because you know what? This is one of those fights where everyone's torn. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. If someone says that they know what's going to happen, they're lying to you. It's generally a great fight. It's generally a fight where I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys don't know what's going to happen. You know, we're all giving predictions, but everyone's kind of torn on what is actually going to happen. Everyone's kind of not sure. One's saying, well, Brook's going to win. The other one's saying Khan's going to win. Can Amir Khan beat Kell Brook like Terence Crawford? Firstly, Amir Khan's not Terence Crawford. He's a different style of fighter. Terence Crawford's a more patient. Amir Khan's a little bit more, won't use the word reckless, but he's a little bit more eager than Crawford. Crawford's a bit more calmer, a bit more patient, like a predator waiting for the right time and waiting for his opportunity. Whereas Amir Khan's more of a go-getter. He goes and gets you. I think he's obviously going to be looking to strike. He's obviously going to be looking to strike first, like he always does. Whereas Terence Crawford kind of waits and sees his opponent. Whereas Amir Khan's a fast starter. He likes to start off fast. He likes to get on top of you. He likes to make you uncomfortable early on, which he does a lot. Which he's done a lot of the times during his career. He's been a guy that's made a lot of fighters uncomfortable early on. Bar the Crawford fight, I think everyone else, and obviously the Prescott fight, but bar those fights, I think every fight, Amir Khan's always started off fast and given the guy trouble. Kell Brook, I've been watching a lot of Kell Brook's fights lately. You know, been watching a lot of his old fights, and Kell Brook's very sharp. He's a very sharp fighter. He's very compact, and he's composed, and he's a sharpshooter. Now, Kell Brook, for me, Kell Brook's weapon that could damage or hurt Amir Khan, or could be a real thorn in Amir Khan's side, is his sharp right hand. I don't really think there's other punches. Yeah, he's got a good repertoire of punches, Kell Brook, but I think the biggest weapon for him will be his sharp right hand. I don't think the left hook or the other punches are going to do as much damage. I think he's going to struggle to land uppercuts on Amir Khan. I don't think Amir Khan's going to be in range for him to land the uppercuts, because Amir Khan's not really going to be on the inside unless Kell can get him onto the ropes. But from close range, you know, you're not going to hit Amir Khan. You have to be in close for you to hit Amir Khan with uppercut, which I very doubt. I don't see him doing that. But I think the punch that could be a problem for Amir Khan is the right hand. That punch could definitely do some damage. And even in the Crawford fight, if you go watch that fight, Kell Brook threw a few right hands, and they were sharp. They were quick. They were quick, sharp right hands. I don't think he was as confident in that fight, and he didn't throw enough. In this fight, because of the history of Amir Khan's chin, I think he's going to look to throw a lot more. And Amir Khan has a lot of trouble with straight right hands. You know, straight right hands give him a lot of trouble. You know, as we saw with Canelo, you know, he gets concussed with straight right hands. He gets drilled with straight right hands. So he's got to be careful in this fight, because Brook does have a good straight right hand. I don't think there's, like, I'm not at this point in Amir's career. Look, every punch could be dangerous, but I don't really think when I look at Kell Brook's repertoire, I think the biggest weapon that he's going to have against Amir Khan is the right hand. I think that could do some damage. However, there's a lot of ifs and buts in this fight, because Kell Brook also got knocked out with a jab in his last fight, so his punch resistance looks completely gone. Amir Khan, again, you know, we don't know. Like, when I saw him against Crawford and I saw him against Vargas, his legs didn't really look that stable, especially against Crawford. His legs didn't look too stable. And against Billy Dib, his legs again looked a bit shaky. But let's see how he looks. You know, he's been training very hard. He said he's been training through aches and pains. It's going to be interesting to see how they look in the ring when they take the shots. How are they going to look inside that ring? That's going to be very interesting for me, because whoever looks better and closer to their prime. Then none of them, those guys, are going to be in their prime, but whoever looks closer. I will say this though, when you look at Kell Brook's fight with Crawford, he did look good. He did look good. Like, he looked like he was sharp, he was quick. But what really looked really bad was his punch resistance. The fact that he got caught with that shot and he just completely, you know, just froze. I don't know what happened. And that was a bit of a concern. Was that the weight? Was that the eye socket? Because the punch hit him right on the eye socket. And that's going to be another interesting thing. When Amir Khan lands and it hits him on the eye socket, how will Kell Brook react? Because one thing is for sure, if Amir Khan hurts Kell Brook in this fight, I mean, if he hurts him like he did with Kell Brook, he hurts Kell Brook like Terence Crawford did, the fight's over, because Amir Khan's too fast. And as you guys know, Amir Khan will just overwhelm him and stop him. In terms of the Terence Crawford fight, I think Crawford just landed a great, you know, hook jab, and Kell Brook was kind of stunned. He didn't know where he was. So it's going to be interesting to see when Khan lands on that area, how Brook reacts to it. That's going to be very interesting. Is Brook going to be able to take it? Was that, like I said, was that the weight? Was that his eye socket? We just don't know. We just don't know, because it's not like we've seen several fights after that and we've seen Kell Brook fall to pieces with his eye. But that was definitely something that I've never seen from Brook before. To get hit with that kind of shot and get completely freeze like that, I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand it. And one thing Kell Brook's got to understand is, if in this fight that happens, the chances are he's going to get blown away, because Khan's hands are so fast, he's not going to let him recover. Now, like I said, I think for either of them, listen, Amir Khan might not be able to recover as well. And someone, I want to give a shout out to one of those guys. One of you actually said that Amir Khan couldn't put Vargas away. The difference was Vargas wasn't hurt that bad when he went down against Amir Khan. It was kind of a flash knockdown, just the speed. It was a surprise. There's a difference. If Kell Brook, the way he got hurt against Crawford, if he's hurt like that in this fight, then he's not going to be able to recover, because Khan's just going to overwhelm him and land so many punches. So there's a difference. And Vargas has pretty good punch resistance. You know, he's fought Ortiz and fought a lot of guys, and he's taken some big shots from a lot of top guys. And he's not, remember, he's not offensively gifted fighter. A lot of these guys that he's fighting are much better than him and generally battering him. So, you know, Vargas seems to have a pretty okay defense. I know he takes a lot of shots and he's got a good chin. But yeah, Amir Khan wasn't able to finish him, but it's a completely different ball game. Vargas wasn't completely shot when he fought Amir Khan. Brook is different. Brook is a guy that suffered a lot of damage, and it looks like he hasn't got much left in terms of punch resistance, like especially around those sockets. If he gets hit there, there's a big chance he probably gets taken out. So Brook is going to have to look to land something early. He's probably going to look to have to take Amir Khan out. Because who knows, if the fight goes on deep. I personally think if the fight goes on deep, it favors Brook, because I think the chances are if Brook goes late, I think Brook might land something, and I don't know whether Amir Khan can go 12 rounds. I think Amir Khan will have to take him out early. But there's also people saying that if Amir Khan takes the fight late, Brook's eye sockets are going to be damaged. I don't want to hear that he's got metal plates in his eye sockets. It ain't going to matter. His eye sockets are fragile at this point. You know, any time you break a bone, they're not supposed to be hit there again. You know, it's like breaking your leg. Your leg's never the same. It's always, you know, it's never the same. And the same with your eye sockets. It doesn't matter whether you have metal plates in there. It's not the same. If you get hit there, there'll be problems. Trust me. That's with anything, any bone that's broken. It doesn't matter how you have it fixed. Doesn't matter how you have it mended. That area will always give you problem. Yeah, you'll be able to live a normal life, but when it comes to elite sports, it definitely impacts you. You know, and it's definitely impacted him in the last fight, because we clearly saw he had 2 metal plates in his eyes sockets in his last fight. But when he got hit there, look at the way his body reacted. So I don't want to hear that nonsense that it's, you know, he's got metal plates in there. If he gets hit there, it's going to be a problem. So that's how I'm interested to see how he reacts to that. But I definitely think it's a very good fight. I think it's an even contest. I think it's any man's game. But I think Amir Khan just needs to be Amir Khan. He doesn't need to imitate Crawford. Crawford's a completely different fighter. He's a fighter with much higher boxing IQ. He's a much smarter fighter. Amir Khan's more, he's naturally gifted, and he needs to hope that those natural gifts get him through the Brook fight. At this point, those natural gifts are definitely diminished as well, because he's a lot older. He's going to be slower. But then he's also fighting a guy whose also gifts are been diminished. You know, in Brook, his timing, you know, his power. Like, power's always going to be there, but his timing is not going to be the same. So I think that's going to obviously affect Kell Brook. The fact that I think he's not going to be as sharp as he once was. And Amir Khan's not going to be as quick as he once was. So they're kind of back at the same level, you know. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how this one plays out. Is Khan going to blow him away early? Is Brook going to land something? I just think the fight favors Amir Khan a lot more, you know, at this point. The weight, the fact that he's having to make 149. I think that's going to kill Kell Brook. I don't think it's going to make much difference. I actually think the weight favors Amir Khan. And the rehydration clause, that's also into Amir Khan's favor. I think it's all geared up for, you know, Amir Khan. Really, I think I think there's. I think if I'm totally honest with you, I think it's going to be very difficult for Brook to get through that early onslaught, especially if his punch resistance has gone, right, and he hasn't, and his eye sockets are vulnerable if he gets hit there. Then it's going to be very difficult for him to win the fight because, like I said, there's a good chance that Amir Khan's going to land something flush and hard on that area. And will it be over for Kell Brook? Look, it's going to be tough. But can Kell Brook come out and go gung ho and look to take Amir Khan out early? It's going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see when Amir hits him. How is he going to react? Because Crawford's not really a big guy. Now Crawford's got good timing, great power and stuff. But Crawford's not really a big guy. You wouldn't expect, like, look at Porter. Porter took Crawford shots all night long, you know, and even when he got hurt, you know, he was okay. You know, he wasn't like he was really badly hurt. He was okay, you know. So, you know, but Porter wasn't completely past his best. Porter was still good. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see how Brook, you know, reacts to when Amir Khan hits him, and how Amir Khan will react when Brook hits him, because Brook's the bigger guy. Without question, Brook's the bigger guy. So Brook lands something, how's Amir Khan going to react to it? That's going to be also interesting. And that's what's going to probably determine the fight in terms of who's less finished, who takes each other's punches much better, who looks more comfortable in there. And I think that will probably determine the fight. Whose weaknesses are worse off. So is Amir Khan's chin even worse now, or is Kell Brook's eye sockets in a much worse place? Like I think that's what's inevitably going to determine the fight. But I do think that the fight favors Khan, because I think Amir Khan's going to be landing more punches while he's in there, whereas Brook's going to be looking for one shot. He's going to be looking for one big shot, whereas Khan's going to be peppering him and breaking him down. So I think I think the fight favors Amir Khan. I do. I think I see an early stoppage, but like I said, it's not one where you can really be sure about. You know, it won't surprise me if it goes the other way and Brook wins by knockout. It won't surprise me, because like I said, it's a very, very pick'em kind of fight. It's not one where you can be sure at all, to be honest. Nobody really knows what you're gonna get and what's gonna happen. Two fighters right at the end of their career, been inactive, damaged as well, you know. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But what do you guys think? Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.